The next day it was time to call on Ted again. He was too busy to look out for Pat. "More parcels!"
"Have a look at this, Pat," said Ted. "I think it'll solve your problem. The Mark I Super Speed Postal Scooter. Just what the modern postman needs in the age of mail order."
"It looks grand, Ted. I like the parcel box in front. Is there room for a cat?"
"There's room for everything. Why don't you try it out? Have a test run."
"Well, I don't know how you've done it so quickly. I'll just try the seat." "What are you doing, Ted? You're not starting the engine, are you? How do you turn it off?" But Pat's question was too late. The postal scooter shot out of the workshop door, taking Pat with it. "Oh! Wow!" Pat shot down the hill, through an open gate, into a field, and crashed into a haystack.
"Are you all right, Pat?"
panted Ted when he found Pat.
"I think it needs a bit of fettling before you use it for real. A few adjustments."
Yes, Ted, quite a few," said Pat, picking himself out of the hay. "Like, well, putting brakes on it." A few days later, Mrs. Pottage was talking to Mrs. Goggins outside the post office.
"That Pat, he makes a great racket these days when he goes round with the village post." "Aye, well, it is a bit noisy," said Mrs. Goggins. "But he certainly gets round with the parcels now." "But he seems to think he's in some sort of race," said Mrs. Pottage.
There was a loud bang, and Pat came whizzing along the village street on his postal scooter. Mrs. Goggins and Mrs. Pottage jumped into the post office doorway for safety.
"Oh, I see what you mean," said Mrs. Goggins.
P.C. Selby was having a quiet stroll when Pat shot into view. He jumped into Mr. Pringle's garden. Pat shot in at the open gate and out the other end. "My goodness," said Mr. Pringle, "Pat is in a hurry. Must be a terribly urgent telegram. But why did he come through here?" The steep hills slowed Pat down a bit, but only when he was going up them. Pat tumbled off at the bottom of one hill with parcels scattered all about. George Lancaster came along and helped to gather them up, saying, "Here you are, Pat. Are you trying to sew them?" P.C. Selby was looking for Pat in the post office.
"Morning, Mrs. Goggins. Can I have a quiet word?"
he said.
I thought you might be popping in," said Mrs. Goggins.
"I've had complaints. It's this high-speed postman of ours."
"Poor old Pat," said Mrs. Goggins. "He's only trying to do his job."
"Right enough, but he's making a dickens of a racket and endangering life and limb."
"Let me have a word with Pat," said Mrs. Goggins. "I know he'll listen to me. No need for him to be in trouble."
"I'll leave it to you, then," said P.C. Selby. "A word to the wise, eh? Thanks. See you, Mrs. Goggins."
Pat came in a minute later. "Was that P.C. Selby just now?" he said.
"Yes, it was, Pat, and it was you he was talking about. He's taken your name and address."
"He knows it. We went to school together."
"Never mind that. He's really cross with you. Been causing a lot of noise and danger, haven't you? Tearing round on that scooter thing.
But how else can I deliver all the parcels on time if they keep on coming like this?
Well, Pat, just as it happens, there's a parcel for you today. It's a big one. Have a look in it. You never know what it might be.
For me? Well, who can be sending one for me? I certainly haven't ordered anything from that blooming catalogue. Pat unwrapped the huge parcel. Well, bless me. It's one of those trolleys. A proper postal trolley. I saw one when I went to London on that trip. Well, this should be a bit of all right. Let's get it loaded up. Off Pat went, proudly wheeling his postal trolley. He met the Reverend Timms. "What do you reckon to this, Reverend?" said Pat.
Wonderful! Ah, Pat, you see the Lord will provide.
"No, it came from the Royal Mail in Pencaster," said Pat. "It's to help me deal with all these parcels."
And it's nice and quiet, said the Reverend Timms. Just the thing for our peaceful corner of the world. Bye, Pat.
Dr. Gilbertson was out shopping.
Hello, Pat. I like your new trolley. Nice and quiet. Holds more parcels, too.
"It'll save me going off my trolley," said Pat, "I can tell you." Pat went whistling cheerfully up the village street. Jess rode amongst the parcels and packets. He loved it. "Come on, Jess," said Pat. "You can give me a ride when we've done." But Jess wasn't at all sure about that. Who ever heard of a cat pulling a trolley?
Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing and the day is just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man.